Hey guys, Rob Jam Webb here for Waxadis Music Tutorials, and I'm going to show you today another synth from the Full Bucket website, which is a great German website that produces really good, high quality free VSTs. And today's one is based on the classic Korg Poly 6 synth that came out during 1980, 81, 82, 83, early 80s. There was a couple of them, there was 2 or 3 different ones. This one is the Mono Fury, which I think is obviously based on the mono version they did, but you can obviously put poly stuff on this as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through various sounds that are ideal for retro funk, synthwave, a bit of techno drum and bass sort of stuff, you know, and experimental sort of, electronic music, you know, mid-tempo stuff. But there's some great stuff in here for funk, some great lead lines, and I'm going to go through those now. I'm going to cut out the bad ones and go straight for the good ones. So down here, if you open up, if you install the synth, you've got the, you know, it looks like this. It's got the interface, which is exactly the same as the control surface on an actual Poly 6. And if you open up the button down here, you can see all the different presets we've got. Got 62 in total, and then you've got 63 for the ones that when you want to program them yourself and save them to a separate preset. And I'm going to start off with the reso bass. Now, obviously, it's the first sound on the set. Now, obviously, when you press it, it doesn't sound like a reso bass at all. It is a reso bass, but it's all drawn out. It's more like a lead line. So what we need to do to make it that kind of funky early 80s sound is take the cutoff down, take the resonance down slightly, and then take the sustain off here. Take that down a bit, and take the decay down, and there we go. Just take that down, and then take the release down a bit, and there you go. Put the resonance back up, and now we've got. So I'm just going to turn. That's better. Just take the release down. Okay, I'm going to put the resonance back up a bit. Not quite happy with that. There you go, look. And probably put the cutoff a little bit up, not fully down, so just a little bit. There you go. So there is your bass. Now, if we wanted to make that, you know, do something with that in a sort of retro wave, sort of synthwave sound, I've put in some chords here that I took off another synth and a little beat there. Set it at 105. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to arpeggiate this to just give it that thing. See, down here you've got this little lightning bolt thing. Click on that, and that will open up the settings for the arpeggio. And basically, the arpeggio is here, and you want to put it to on, like so, and then select it to EXT, external there, and then we're going to click 116. Like so, and now we're going to play the track. We're going to mess about with the cutoff. And get the right sort of setting that you want. You know, so that's what you can do with that. Obviously, you've got all the different you know, timings there for the arpeggiator. Now, if you have it on MG2 here, which controls this frequency dial here, this is where if you're playing live and you want to assign these knobs to a control on your MIDI controller, for example, and you want to be experimental, then this is great. So, for example, you would put it on latch here, and then you would use this as your timing. So, see what I mean? So if I put it on latch and play a chord, turn the cutoff down. But what I'm missing is I want to put on an effect. So if I stuck on a ping pong down here, turn it to about 30% each way, and then go. Now obviously that's playing live and that's not in time. Now if I go back, and this is, as I say, this is just for experimenting if you want to be into that sort of thing. But if you want it to be perfect, put on EXT and then go. And that frees your hand up, so you can mess about with the dials. And then put the next chord in. helps you free your hand up. If you put the latch on, you can experiment if you're using it to control dials and stuff. That's just one example. So I'm going to turn off the arpeggio, and as I say, it's a great little funk bass line. Now, if we had this playing on a funk track and it went, and then did your glissando at the end, you know, you get that. So that's that. That's the reso bass. So that's just one little example. And the next thing then is there's loads of sounds in here, but I'm going to cut most of these out. I'm not really bothered about them. There's one here called the Koto, and this is a very simple sort of little synthy sound. It's meant to be a Japanese, I think it's a Japanese instrument. Again, put the arpeggio on again, and this is brilliant. You stick on a load of delay, ping pong here, go to about 40% on each way, really crank it up a bit, and then experiment with this again, and this sort of sound. So it's like this. Look. Let's just put the X on and then go to 116. Sorry, I've not got it on latch. My fault. So you got that, which is really noisy, and just quickly turn that off. Right, so let me turn my delay back down and to about 30. So that's that. You got this really kind of experimental. Yeah, really good for your let's turn that off. Really good for like synthwave stuff and things like that, you know. Okay, so next up, what we're going to do now is going to do some lead lines, and I'm going to go jump up further here, and the lead line that I want is there's a sound here called the Rise of the Triades, and this is a really cool sort of bit of a Vangelis sort of synth. If you hear the original theme tune to Blade Runner, and if you put up the portamento, it's got that kind of feel to it. So if I play this and put the portamento up and then jump from one octave to another, it gives it that kind of, you know, dystopian sort of feel. So let's have a look. And drop it, go up an octave. Pitch bend it, and then drop it an octave. Up an octave. You know, you can really go to, you know, go places with that. So that's a cool little sound. Now then, let's start getting into the funkier sort of sounds. There's one here called the Great Lead. Now this is here, and this does exactly what it says on the tin. It's kind of got a great modulation on it. Stick on the ping pong, obviously. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this sound, this pad sound that I put in. I'm just going to quickly change that to a Rhodes. Grab that Rhodes there, and I'm going to put on a auto filter on that. I'm going to turn the volume up a bit, put the auto filter on, and just make it a bit wobbly. So let's just check that's okay. So a little bit of you know, just get that right. There you go, look, that's better. And then I'm going to quickly just move that out of the way. I'm going to grab a funk beat from this pack that I've got, which is in here. Just put on a funk beat like that, just a little live beat, and then do some sort of live jamming on top, which goes like this. Too much delay on that. Let's turn it down a bit. Yeah, you can imagine the vibe that we're going to get with that. So that's that one. That's a pretty cool sound, which is the Great Lead sound. And the next sound is one called the Greek Sweep, which again is quite heavy bass. like that. It's almost like an old sort of Arp Odyssey sort of sound. If you put on some portamento on that, you imagine the track Summer Madness. If you played that, it'd be like. Yeah, you can do some really cool funky stuff, space funk with this. So that's that one. So that's pretty cool. And then what we've got is you've got the fifth sounds, which are here, minor set and major set. Now these, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quickly speed this up, loop this drum bass. And these are good sounds for your techno and your drum and bass sort of stuff, your experimental sort of drum and bass, so to speak. So I'm just going to filter this like this, and it's going to go like this. So that'd be good for obviously that kind of drum and bass sort of sound. And then the next one out of that is that's the minor one. You've got the major one, which is a lot more pleasant. And if I was to grab another beat, let's just grab some sort of techno beat out of here, so to speak. Let's have a look at here. So if I put that in there and then slow that back to 130, and then we've got this sort of thing. Just loop that properly. My bad. Let's have a look. Filter it down. So on and so on. You know, you get the idea. So that's really good for drum and bass and sort of more up tempo, upbeat sort of stuff. Okay, and then what we've got next is. In here we've got those two sounds, which are the major and the minor sounds, which are really cool. And then we've got one called Snappy Lead, which is a good funk, another funky lead. You know, you got some really cool sort of stuff with that. So that's the Snappy Lead. That's that one. And then the next one we've got is the Robbins Lead, which is here. And again, similar sort of thing, but really cool modulation. It's got a really nice modulation on that. So if I pull that over across down here, like that. Again, a very simple sort of lead sound, but very effective for funk and, you know, disco and stuff. And this sound's called the Arp Android. And we're going to go back to the retro stuff here with the early 80s sort of sound. And I'm going to put the pad back on in here. So let's get me Cobalt pad back on this one. And then I'm going to show you a really cool sound. This is great for like a background sound, really. So if I just take that off, get rid of that now. And this sound here is the Arp Android. It's a very computer digitally sort of spacey sound. But this is brilliant for background filler, like this sort of. If you want atmospheric stuff. Take the arpeggio off. It's really nice sort of crystally. Crystally sort of sound. You know, and if you put the arpeggio on with that, it kind of goes, you know, really crazy. And So it's really nice, a really nice little sound to use. And the next sound that we've got then in here, which is the 5th sync lead. Again, but this is a little bit more talk box. You go lower down. And this is kind of cool for that sort of sound as well. So stick the delay back up. Let's get a load of delay on it and do short stabs. So that's that one. That's the 5th sync lead, which is great. And I think we've got probably one more sound to do, which is the badass. And it's not that much of a badass, but for the lower end stuff, you've got that kind of... It's really nice for that kind of low end stuff. So if I crank the volume up a bit and go like this, look. Just have that filtering up, sweeping up as a root note. So if I was to record those in, I'd quickly put those in like so. Just get rid of that a second and just drag that to there. Pull that over there, and then that onto this C there. Now, if we had this, we have this like this, just as an example, and then duplicate the channel, and then get rid of that, and then open this duplication up, turn that up a bit. Let's just choose the sound we want, which we would probably use the Koto sound, should I say. And then see what kind of thing we get. So that's look. Turn the chords down. Put the latch on. So that's it. They're probably the best sounds out of the Mono Fury. There's loads of other sounds in there you could use for other projects if you're into, really experimenting with synth sounds. There's some drum sounds in here, obviously, like little hi-hats and snares and kicks and stuff. But the majority of it is really retro synthing sounds based on the Korg Poly 6. So that's it, really. I hope you've taken something from that. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Any questions, just email me or leave a comment in the box. Leave a comment if you like the video. And the link for the synth is in the description of this video anyway. It's free to download. Doesn't cost you anything. So head over there now and grab it and go and enjoy making some pretty cool retro sounding music. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.